Cox and John Carinci. Carinci coming out of Canada by way of Port St. Lucie, Florida. Fletcher Cox calls Jacksboro, Texas home in this big old mean 977-inch nitrous-powered 69 Camaro.
Yeah, we're starting off with a banger here.
Yes, we are.
Right out of the gate.
Fletcher waiting on the signal from Phil Schuler, which he gets. And John Carinci of the turbocharged, much quieter Corvette heats the tires. What I think is so neat about what Fletcher's doing in drag racing, what he has done for years in drag racing, is how genuine it is. I think that, you know, maybe there was people that on the outside that didn't know who this guy was or what his real passion was, that didn't get who he was and what he was planning to do when he left the league. But this is what he's always wanted to do. He loves football, don't get me wrong. The guy's a Hall of Fame level player, but this is where this guy's heart's always been.
100%, and even when he was playing ball, he was still part of a racing program. He just had a driver, but I know Fletcher has been wanting to drive for a long time, and it tickles me pink that he can get out here and drive his own car and run his own program, and he is darn successful at what he's doing right now on a 33-inch tire.
Yes, he is. He has a great group of people surrounding him, quite literally at this moment. You see a couple of big names out there. Schuler's checking a wheelie bar. A couple of the other guys getting ready to roll him ahead. And John Carinci, I mentioned this earlier. Let's not write this guy off. He's only gone a 393 at 196 miles an hour. That is a 380s car all day long, especially in conditions like this.
Yeah, Fletcher's going to have to be on his game here on the tree. He can't get caught with his pants down, or Carinci will just drive out of his life from the get-go.
And I got to believe that Fletcher is probably gritting his teeth. I'm sure he wanted the #1 spot, and to watch it kind of get stolen from him and then end up third of all things last night probably annoyed him.
Absolutely, but it's just like Promont. They drew chips, so it doesn't matter where you landed. On the qualifying sheet, you got who you got.
So these two beautiful race cars on this Saturday night. This is round 1 eliminations of Pro 10-5. Earn a win light, and you get to fire it back up here tomorrow. It doesn't come on, you pack it up and go home. Cox carries the front end way out there. Carinci's by the wall. It is Fletcher Cox, 387.5 at 184 miles an hour. John Carinci left within 4th thou of him, and man, he was all over the place out there.
Man, that was a race. He made not have won, but he made it a very entertaining drag race. He drove the crap out of that car, and he gave Fletcher a good little run for his money.
Look at the speed differential down there. You'd expect it out of the turbo car, but 16 miles an hour at the stripe. He was gaining on him.
Yeah, and that's not like you're driving your everyday car down the highway and it's a 16 miles an hour difference. That comes up so quick.
And it's going to be Joel Wensley Jr. out of Dearborn, Michigan, and Carmen Damiani on the right side of the 1990 Mustang out of Fort Meade, Florida.
And this is the one you said you had your eye on, Brian.
On Wensley, yeah, they've eaten up some parts this week. They run a combination very similar to this car to what Joel Sr. runs in a Pro Mod car, so it's got that. You watch a team come out here and kick rocks for 3 or 4 runs, and then all of a sudden they show up with what the car is capable of. I think these guys can give Wensley everything he can handle, even though they haven't showed it yet.
Yeah, didn't we just have that happen this morning with
Yes, we did.
Nova? And these two cars are a perfect example. Camaro, a 1990 hatchback Mustang. Like, what more could you ask for? You could go buy one of those and make it one of these in no time if that's what you wanted to do. They're relatable and they great run out of both cars. I'm happy to see that 90 for Joe Wensley.
Tim Parton. Let's talk about Tim. We set this up pretty well. Tim's coming into this program with this really cool Exorcist Camaro that's going to roll up. And you said this is like a new world for this guy.
Yeah, and he's so excited to be here and to talk to a racer that's brand new to a class, and having that much enthusiasm is always entertaining. And I'm going to kind of root for the underdog here. He hasn't been racing this class for very long. He's a top ball bracket racer. I hope he can be on the tree here, but he's learning so much and a very humble human being.
One of the guys he's got working for him, as we see Chris Mattingly heat the tires in that gorgeous car. Tim Parton's going to test the valve springs on the burnout there out of Sydney, Michigan. One of the kids he's got working for him, Cole, is a guy that he's a wrench on the top fuel car, and he came down here to help Tim out. And I was talking to him during the chip draw for the Pro Mod class. He says, this may have been the biggest mistake I ever made in my life, coming down to this race. He's in love with the environment. He's in love with the cars. And he's going to see if he's in love with the performance that Tim can put in here against Chris Mattingly.
Yeah, I've seen him at the hotel bar the last couple of nights, and he is turned up. About like that burnout that we just saw from Tim. That car is also out of Derek Minholt's camp.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's not one of Derek's cars, but as you can tell,
yeah,
it looks like one of the sisters' cars.
Yes.
So
yes.
They could be twins, just a different color, and they're all hanging out down there, and Derek's helping them out with that program.
Chris Mattingly rolling in. Daryl Herron there in front of the race car. Daryl, an exceptionally talented guy that's worked with everybody from Bo Butner in a championship pro stock season to Bruno Massel Comp Eliminator, a bunch of other radial racers over time, and now he's here with Mattingly in this low-slung, gnarly Camaro. See if Cole Fergan can record his first win as a crew guy and a door slammer out here. Mattingly's going to fire a shot here. He's about a 10th behind in qualifying. And Parton is going to handle business. He got out of the gate second. Mattingly did a better job by 300s at the tree, but just ran a 90 flat.
Wow, that's so impressive. I'm so happy for that team. They have worked their butts off. Brand new race team come out here with a round one win. That is an accomplishment in itself.
Huge. Huge. I mean, again, you talk about this idea of like, I want to do this, I have these other skills, but you got to get in here and kind of mix it up to feel like you really belong. Well, Tim, you really belong. That was a very impressive run. 3:9:07 moves him on to round number 2, which will be contested tomorrow. Carson Baker and Jerry Morgano. How about Baker showing up last night and stealing the show?
And this right here is an example of why a chip draw is a little unsafe for some. So Carson Baker's #1 qualifier. Jerry Morgiano is #2 qualifier, and they're only separated by 100.
I don't know a lot about Carson Baker's background, but I can tell you that Jerry Morgano has been in this game for decades. And Morgano has kind of come back out into the sport because of this resurgence of 10.5 racing. And the Ameriprise Financial, the Soma Racing Engines, Bullseye Turbo, Atomizer Injector, Menser Motorsports, Mustang really showed us what it could be capable of with a 389 last night.
Yeah, and you got Ryan and Javi out there helping Carson. Ryan's kind of taking Carson under his wing and taught him some things. This is actually Ryan's old car. This is the car that raced MPK with us the last couple years. Carson's getting very comfortable in the car, and he just keeps getting better and better.
He looked like it last night. The group of runs this thing's put together, 91, 90, and 88, the best package that anybody has. But you look over Morgano, yes, he only made the one real hero shot last night at 389, but it shows he has it in the tank. And Morgano in front of this big crowd here at Bradenton Motorsports Park may be able to handle the nerves a little bit better than Carson. We're about to find out. Boy, massive hole shot from Morgano, and Morgano, a 391 beats a 389. He absolutely swallowed him whole on the starting line. Morgano 52 to Baker's 171.
Oh, that is absolutely devastating. I know Carson's going to be sick to his stomach whenever he sees that ticket. He honestly probably already knows. As a driver, you know when you're late. You know whenever you've crapped the bed and ruined it for your team, and that's a devastating pass for Carson.
It's a rough lesson to learn, and you've been in that seat before. I've seen some of the best in this entire sport. It happens to everybody time and again. It's a lesson. Unfortunately, it's a lesson you learn in front of God and everybody.
Man, it's a hard lesson to learn, though. The worst way to lose right there.
Nick Agostino and Ron Fisher coming up right now. You want to talk relatability of cars? You want to talk the droolability of cars? You want to talk the appeal of cars? Tell me there is a better looking pair you're going to see in a drag strip than these two.
Two beautiful cars, mint condition. I don't think either one has a scratch or a dent. Nick Agostino's been racing for a really long time. I raced with him in Las Vegas when I was just a kid. I think I was 16 or 17 years old.
Streetcar Super National stuff?
That's
nice.
it. Streetcar Super National stuff and Outlaw 10.5, quarter-mile racing at that time.
Hang on tight.
For sure, but those cars were not going near as fast as they are now. Technology has gotten so much better over the past 10 years, and it's crazy just how these cars have progressed, and they just keep getting faster and faster. I don't know when the limit's going to be hit.
Yeah, we certainly haven't found it yet, as Nick Agostino now pulls this thing in a low gear, MM transmission, Nash competition engines providing the power for Nick out of Ontario, Canada, and Ron Fisher of Brooksville, Florida. The 1968 Chevelle, a car that it stops people in their tracks in the pits. It's one of the neatest things when you see people walking around and they lay eyes on this thing. They just have to stop and look at it. Ron Fisher has been working with Todd Tutterow the last few races, and we have seen a big turnaround in that program.
Yeah, that's one I would definitely want in my corner no matter what I was driving. He is a very smart man, very seasoned racer. He can definitely get something going.
Agostino's way out on him, and Agostino's going to just drive away. Man, someone was on the throttle for a half hour down there. 392 at 202 miles an hour for Nick Agostino. Fisher goes 404 at 186. To Ron Fisher's credit, that car has picked up nearly a full tenth of a second this weekend, and they are working their way toward a 3-second pass. But for Agostino, it might have been him. It might have sounded like the throttle might have hung on that thing for a half a second.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but the amount of 390 passes we've already seen is so impressive. This field is really stacking up to be a tight field.
And the man who drew the bye.
This is actually not a drawn bye. This is a comp.
Oh, comp single. Is Greg Chandler down there?
Yeah, that is Greg
Oh, yes,
Chandler.
I apologize. I saw Andy, and I mistook Andy for
Andy should be rolling up any time.
Gotcha, okay.
So I'll tell you a little fun fact about Andy Willoughby. He went testing at Ennis at the Motorplex a couple of months ago, and they had a Little Gangsters race, and they told him if he wanted to test, he had to enter the Little Gangsters race. And it was for 20 wraps. Andy goes out there, I think it was a 64-car field, and wins the whole thing. Would take off, let off the gas, and then just feather it through.
And he won the whole race?
Stole that 25 grand from all those Little Gangsters car, just meaning to go test, and he ends up winning the whole thing.
That is a great story.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, because eventually you're probably like, I kind of want to make a run here, but this is going so well, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Wow.
Exactly. I saw him in the top 4 on social media, and I was like, there is no way this is happening right now. He is going to win this whole dang thing, and he surely did.
Well, that certainly padded the wallet for the trip out here to Florida. That is a killer story. Mike Boland pointing in the windshield saying, I see you in there. And they're saying he's broken.
Oh, no.
It does appear that he is broken. Mike Poland is motioning now across the racetrack. He initially made the break, so he's trying to refire. You heard it just pop and bang down there.
So we'll see if Greg Chandler shuts his motor off and kind of waits on Andy Willoughby. Usually they put you on a clock.
Run it again.
He's pulling in.
Okay.
Never mind. He was just playing pretend with us. Maybe it was part of his strategy.
That's yeah, draw him into a false sense of security. So Greg Chandler, pre-stage, here comes Andy Willoughby.
First time the boards are going to be lit right here.
And it is going to be Greg Chandler, and Chandler motors through 4:33.6 at 180 miles an hour. It's the first time in true 10.5 history the scoreboards have been turned on. Willoughby's car smoked the tires early, runs a 493 at 118.
Yeah, and that's just a testament to turning the boards on. Like, you have cars that are going to run 390s, and you have cars that are going to run 430s and need a giant stroke of luck to win this class. But that's why the boards were off before. Nobody really knew. You could get lucky. You could get a giant hole shot win. But now there is no hiding behind those scoreboards anymore.
No hiding. Everything's out in front of everybody. It's Jason Terrell, and here comes Brandon Sandlin out of Mays, Kansas. The Sandlin Iron Metal Auto Salvage Junkyard Stewed. Jason Terrell, the 2019 Corvette. You don't get too much of a different look than this.
I love a Corvette. It really turns me up. Brandon Sandlin was on his way to Bradenton. His toter broke down. He turned around, said, "I'm not going to make it, boys." Somebody helped him out. He made it on the very last day. I think he was here on Thursday. He hasn't made a pass down this racetrack yet, but you can't count Brandon out. And let me tell you something about this guy. He will drive this thing from the mayonnaise to the mustard, back to the mayonnaise, up against the wall. It doesn't matter. He's going to get it to the stripe, and if it's anywhere close, he's absolutely going to shove that thing through the finish line.
I have watched the videos of him manhandling this thing through places like Yellow Belly down in Texas. So he is as fearless as they come and as skilled as they come. Jason Terrell's Corvette is as slick as it could possibly be. I mean, the thing is, the old saying, you can't hide money. There's a couple of bucks tied up into that thing down there.
And here we go with the flat hood. Tell me that Corvette doesn't look better than any other Corvette here simply because it has a flat hood on it.
It does look spectacular. Factory dimensions on the body and all as Sandlin rolls that 53 Studebaker champion ahead. Trouble for Terrell, and he's got a red light. Sandlin is going to take, he blows it up big time in the lights. 4:15 at 193 miles an hour. That thing was singing to the heavens when he got down there.
Yeah, that's a tough break for Brandon. Jason goes red by 0:18, unfortunately, and I'm going to say Brandon is going to have a lot of work to do whenever he gets back to the pits, but they don't run again tonight, so he'll have all night to get it together and hopefully be able to make the call tomorrow.
We got a replay here. We're going to watch on the boards. Terrell kind of took 2 bites of the starting line to stage this thing, and it set him in deep. It caused him to go red, and man, that was a big one. It knocked the supercharger smooth off the top of the engine going through the 8th mile finish line.
Yeah, that was a big kaplooey.
So we are checking the spotters down there, picking up parts and pieces. They have not reported any fluid yet. Yeah, when we heard Terrell staging that car, you heard the revs dip a little bit, and then it looked like he might have double hit the button or something.
Yeah, I think he double hit the button and lost a little boost. It probably threw him way off, or it rocked the car just a little deeper, causing him to go red. Really bad situation, unfortunate for them.
Yeah, walk people through as they're sitting here as they clean this up. Walk people through that staging process if you could. For people in the stands that aren't really sure what they're looking at, what's the driver doing in there?
It all depends on what combination that you have while you're driving. I mean, honestly, the turbo car is the hardest to stage. Not something I prefer, but you have to go in, hold one button, spool it all the way up, then you take another button, start bumping it in, then let go of the first button as well as the brake pedal, and then you're on like a regular trans brake. A Pro Charger or a screw blower is a little easier. You roll in, you hold one button, mat it to the ground, and then you're ready to rip.
Yeah, it's a heck of a thing, especially when a guy gets into that situation. When they have to get on the, when they have to bump it twice, to me it's always like, man, there's a lot going on in there, and even have the presence of mind to pull that off successfully is pretty wild.
What a cool car. Taylor Strange brings a Beretta, absolutely cool car, old school, raw. I love it. Brian, I'm shooting my shot. Larry Larson is going to be the first 28 10.5 car in competition to light those boards up with a 390 something.
Listen, that is good. That is a good take. I would not bet against it.
No, he's kind of the one everybody's chasing. He's your previous winner at Snowbirds.
Yes.
He's coming off a huge win at King of the South, and yeah, I just think he's really likely to be the first in the threes here.
Taylor Strange, we talked a little bit about it yesterday, but we've seen a really nice improvement and evolution of this car over the last 2 races. The tendency it had at the last race was it would start it off at about 60 feet, then about 100 feet, 200 feet. It would drive into tire smoke. Well, now they're actually finishing runs, so they've gotten the package together and the setup on this car to be competitive. I don't know if it's got the guts Larry's has. Oh, pedal job. Strange is out there. Larry's trying to get there. He barely got there. 456 beats a 462, and they're running off the gas 100 times.
My gosh, I definitely called that wrong. I had no idea. I would never have bet that would have been a pedal fest at all. Larry really gets lucky there.
Yes.
Taylor almost takes him out and almost takes a potentially winning monster of a car out in first round. That would have been pretty devastating. And Taylor had some numbers on him on the tree as well.
And they were both almost pedaling at the same time, too. It was like both of them had the same issue at the same moment, and Larry's car was able to put it together just a couple of hundredths ahead. But that was, yeah, he was sweating that one big time, all the way up to the stripe.
That's one of those runs where you look out your window and you think, can I pedal it one more time? He's right there. I think I can make it work one more time. Sometimes that bites you. Sometimes it works out for you.
Oh, it's going to be Kai Kelly and Brian McGee coming up next. So Kelly of Macomb, Mississippi, rolls through the water box in the Buick, known as Jangalang. And here comes Brian McGee out of Pelion, South Carolina, in the 1967 Mustang.
So Brian McGee runs a big nitrous setup. How ironic would it be if the nitrous car takes out Jangalang after Kai sells and gets rid of all of his nitrous applications? I think that he would probably be feeling pretty sad and might regret selling all that stuff.
That's a great point. That is a great point, and this sport does tend to work in mysterious ways sometimes. You can see McGee purging the nitrous. Really neat car. The skill set that racers like you develop, racers like Kai have developed, like Larson has developed, and power management really has to be the key to this whole thing working, right?
Yeah, you have to crawl these things out of the hole on such a small tire. So most of these guys are running a lockup converter, and you can kind of hear them kick in mid-track, and that tire gets a little skinnier, and it starts picking up mile an hour, and it is a wild ride.
Little tap on the fender for McGee's crew guy. Kai Kelly going to try to stop the nitrous 67 Mustang. Huge wheel stand for McGee, and Kelly is going to roar to a 402 at 196 miles an hour.
Dadgummit, he got so close to that 390, but we're still hunting it really close on the tree for both of them. And honestly, Brian was giving him a pretty good run for his money in the middle, and then just lost the tire and didn't get to finish the run.
Yeah, that thing really started to climb up on those. Again, we're talking about a true 10.5 tire here. The fact they could even pull that wheel stand and then drive up into it is incredible.
Yeah, and they don't have bars on the back like big tire cars. Like, you have to make a judgment call. Is it a little high, or can I run it through the stripe? And that's a pretty scary judgment call to make. When
the track light is actually shining straight through the windshield and you're looking at it now, that may be a good indication that tonight's not your night. Matt Jones and Scotty G rolling up right now.
So I'll give you a fun fact about Scotty G. Scotty G is
by all means, go ahead.
Scotty G is an old no-time racer.
Yes.
He's been in this game for a long time. From what I know, he has never lit the boards, ever. He's a true NT guy, and I think this is the first time that he's going to light the boards in his racing career.
I will say this. I've been calling Scotty G making runs now for probably about 10 years. If I go back to the runs I saw him making South Georgia Motorsports Park and other places, and I have to tell you, at least in my experience, which is way limited to the length of his career, I have never seen him turn a scoreboard on. So, yes, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and that's just a testament to how old we are, Brian.
We need Pro Mod pairs 1 through 4. That is Spencer Hyde, Steve King, Vic Alvarez, Mike Bowman, Justin Bond, Pete Norton, Sidney Frigo, and Robert Cox. We need the first 4 pair of Pro Mod to the staging lanes, please, for round 1 eliminations.
You talk about some killers in the first 4 pair. We are starting out hot in Pro Mod. Spencer Hyde, Steve King, first pair out. Man.
So Matt Jones got a big order here. 470-inch turbocharged combination in this 91 GMC truck. Cool looking piece that it is. And man, this thing just settles the bumper down so nicely when he leaves. It plants just all the weight on the rear tires. But Scotty G, to your point, this guy's been no time racing up in Englishtown and Atco and all those places back in the day before he came down to Florida.
Yeah, for a long time. And I said earlier, and I don't think you heard me, this is just a testament to how old we really are. We've been announcing and racing for this long that you've been announcing Scotty G for all those years, and he's never turned a board on. So this should be interesting, and I'm glad to see him adapting.
Yes, hey, listen, even Scotty G can change with time.
That's right.
Matt Jones was in pretty deep there, but Scotty's going to pedal it. Matt Jones may have enough to get around him, and Jones got him. 471 beats a 469. He beat him on a hole shot. Beat him on a hole shot.
Holy smokes. 049 to 127 from Scotty G. That's really uncharacteristic of him. Lucky win for Matt Jones, and congratulations to that team.
The one thing I'll say, you know, Scotty's 127 light. He hit the gas, and the revs, the thing was just revved down so low. That car did not move anywhere near the way it should have when he got off the starting line, and it just never got up to itself. Now we're talking right here. Now we're talking.
Yeah, key matchup of the round. Corey Reed, very consistent car out of the Manny Bajinga camp. Bill Lutz over there. Arguably probably the fastest car on a 28 that we know of. He's been posting his time slips all week. We'll see if he can back that up here. Only car in the field to be running nitro in that application. Not only does he have 2 power adders, he's also running nitro in the tank. So he's given it all to it.
He is, and let's take this matchup to the second level. These are 2 of the ugliest freaking cars on this entire property. You got Corey Reed in a car that he crashed. They cut the nose in half. Half the nose is a Mustang, half of it's Camaro. And Bill Lutz, from the Nick Agostino end of the beauty scale of a Camaro, this thing ain't even on the same page.
Yeah, they're not pretty to look at, but
they run like hell.
But they're both efficient.
The J&A Service Mustang of Corey Reed. Manny Bujanga looking on. As Brad Mason points to the windshield, Bill Lutz, as you said, nitrous, a screw blower, and a load of pop in the tank. A car that has been 391 on this racetrack. Reed's out on it by 300s, but look at Lutz run. 393 with a 4 at 202.09 miles an hour. And that would be officially what we know to be the quickest elapsed time in competition anybody's laid down on this tire. Corey Reed goes 407.
100%. Bill takes it. Really awesome time slip there. Really good short numbers. 393. Congratulations to that team. That is such a huge accomplishment, and he can stand on that forever.
To go 104 in a 60-foot on that thing is just crazy. Scott Taylor, Cole Pez. Will Bill Lutz be the shortest standing elapsed time record holder in true 10.5 history? Because is Scott Taylor about to go quicker than that right now?
Even if he goes quicker, Bill still can swing it around a little and say that he was first to the 3 in competition.
Yes, he can.
Scott Taylor can do it. I'm not sure it has a 93, and I honestly think Scott will play it a little safe this round.
These guys,
because Cole's been having trouble, and he wants to assure that he makes it into second round.
Yeah, you got to race smart. As much as you look at conditions and they get enticing for a beautiful time slip, a frameable time slip, and you want to win the race, you got to race smart. And Cole Pez, as we talked about, this thing has been a battle. They have fought everything about it. They had some contact with walls earlier in the week. New struts put on the front end, work done to get Cole back in this race car. One attempt, car went left, he lifted, Meanwhile, Scott Taylor just bulldozed his way down this track last night.
Yeah, and you got the Pachards out there, which is a great pick for tuners and to be helping you out. Those guys know exactly what they're doing on a small tire. They're super, super smart. I just want to point out how crowded the starting line is right now. This is what really turns me up, gets my gears going. Everybody down there having a good time. You got 20s flying around right now, and it just makes it so exciting.
Scott Taylor is pre-stage. Cole Pez. What a story it would be if Pez pulled off what could be considered the upset of the entire race here as Scott Taylor rolls in now to fully stage. Cole Pez is hanging in there. Finish line stripe, it's Pez. 4:007 beats a 4 flat. That is incredible. Cole Pez was 35 green. Taylor was 71 green. And Cole Pez, on a hole shot of 7/1000ths of a second, wins the drag race.
Oh my gosh, I'm absolutely devastated for Scott. He has had such a crappy weekend, and that just ends it entirely there. But also really happy for the Pez family. They've worked their butts off. I don't think they've had any sleep in 72 hours, and him being able to cut a 0.37 there without any kind of rest and what he's been through is really impressive. So good for them, but I'm going to be real honest, I'm a little disappointed.
Just the two sides of that scale. What it's going to feel like to be on Taylor's side of it, and then just the pure elation to be on the side of it of the Pez family that has been to the depths of despair, and now a round win to race on Sunday. Brad Eglin rolling up on the right side. The 94 Lumina. We talk about cool cars in the category. The Lumina is one of them. Zach Jones in the 69 Camaro.
Yeah, Brad Eklund also has a new tuner. His name is Cheese. And they have been making this car a little faster and a little more consistent with each pass. So we'll see what they can do here. But Zach Jones is kind of notorious for being the sleeper. Like, all of a sudden it's the semifinal and he's still in, and you're like, oh man, I forgot about Zach.
Right.
And he's still here. He might win this whole dang thing.
Those are the most dangerous people in this sport. The people that are very good and they seemingly kind of hang around. Even though they're successful, they hang around, and then all of a sudden, by the time you realize they're a threat, they've already kicked your ass.
I see Tom Gunner down there betting with B-Rad against Zach Jones here.
England's car missed when he got on the throttle, and this one is all Zach Jones. 404, 198 miles an hour.
Yeah, Tom, if you can hear me, also known as Jimmy Dale, start handing out them 20s, because I saw you lose all that money just now. You bet on the wrong side.
We need pairs 5 through 8. That is going to be Banica and Holder. That is going to be Barnett and Stedding. Callie Mills and Greg Blevins. Jimmy Taylor and Eric Gustafson. First 8 pairs of round 1 of M&M Transmission Pro Modified to the staging lanes, please.
So matchup of the round right here, Brian. Ryan Martin versus Chase Womack. Ryan has kind of swept the floor with Chase the last few times that they've paired up.
You know him in and out. You know Ryan in and out. The guy's a champion. The guy has been insanely successful. You know, there are times when this guy has legitimately in his career seemed completely unbeatable and unstoppable. How do you race a guy like this? If you're in the car, how do you race a guy like this?
Yeah, but if you look at the round in the previous races, the fastest guy hasn't been winning, and we've had some major upsets in a hole shot or losing the tire or whatever, but Ryan Martin is always a tough competitor. It doesn't feel good to look over and know that he's in that other lane, especially in that red car. That thing is a Swiss Army knife. That thing's been on a radial. That thing's been on a big tire. That thing's been on a 10.5 and now a small tire, and it is just so consistent. It's a very well-built car, and he is a really good driver. He goes into both bulbs very quickly, 90%
That's
of
his
the
move.
time.
That's his typical cadence.
That's it. So if Chase lights the first bulb first, you can expect Ryan to roll into immediately.
Gotcha.
And so if I was racing him, I would make him go in first.
Okay.
I'd put that sucker in neutral over there.
Yeah.
And you won't find anybody more stubborn than me, Brian. I'll run it out of fuel before I roll in.
Sit there and let it go run dry.
Ryan.
We'll find out. You said Womack's been slapped around by Martin the last several times they've raced, and sometimes you get to a point where you're willing to go deep into the bag of tricks. We'll see if he tries to pull here. Okay, Womack pulled the same move on Martin. He was in first. Womack slaps a huge hole shot on him by 0.05 of a second, and it's still Martin. 394 at 200, beats a 406. The margin, 62 thousandths of a second. Womack played the game perfectly up front.
He did, and he got him off the tree by quite a lot. 033 to 086. He did everything he possibly could to take him down and play the game. It just wasn't quite enough, but both really good passes from both cars, and I hate to see Chase go home first round.
Here's some cred right here. You just you set that starting line up perfectly. What you would have done is exactly what Womack did. You said you'd want him to go, which he did. He moved first to pre-stage. Womack dove in both bulbs. Then Martin was in second, and he laid 500s on him on the starting line.
Yeah, you race these guys enough, and Chase has raced Ryan so much that you learn their characteristics.
Yep.
So you have to do anything you can to play a starting line game or put them at a disadvantage. Yep. So Chase did all that he could do.
Just break up the rhythm.
That's it. You have to break up their routine.
Joe Rabiola right side, and Lance Kanicki on the left side out of Casper, Wyoming. The 1967 Nova, a car that is one of the most exciting things to watch. When it's working right, this thing will carry the front end.
Yeah, Lance is a really good driver. Another one that will just make it happen no matter the situation. Joey Ravioli is what I call him, or Boost 12. He's been racing that same car for 15 years. It is kind of an iconic car in the small tire world. I sat down with Joey earlier and asked him what his spirit animal was.
Okay.
He told me it was an overweight, fat tiger. That is Joey Ravioli's spirit animal. If you guys missed the interview, I wanted to make a point to make that known.
I like where his head's at. Let's see what Kanicki thinks his spirit animal is. Oh, man. Ravioli's getting it done big time. 417 outruns a 428, 198 miles an hour for Joe. And he will move on to round two. Lance left on him by just 12 thousandths.
Yeah, big mile an hour for Joey, too. 198, that's a really great number for that car. And now they have something to build on for tomorrow. But I don't think you'll see these numbers tomorrow early in the day. If they were going to run record-setting numbers or in the 90s, tonight is probably your best chance to do it for sure.
Agree. As Kyle Canyon and James Daniels show up now. Final pair of round one.
So you have this final pair, and then you have a bye that's going to go to Ryan Hendrickson after this pair. Kyle Canyon is actually my teammate. We share a tuner.
Okay.
Chase Driscoll.
Oh, Chase Driscoll.
Who is, in my opinion, the most underrated tuner in the game. He never brags. He isn't on social media talking trash all the time. He puts his head down, he tunes his cars, and he puts winning things together.
There you go. It's a good tagline for a business. We put winning things together.
Boom.
That's sell that. Put that in a shirt.
Mic dropper, a mic dropper right there.
That's totally it. So Daniels backing his way up. Major league underdog here, Mr. Daniels out of Barnesville, Georgia. The Daniels program, I think, is pretty simple. Canyon has to pedal this race car. Daniels can beat him. Canyon does not have to pedal this race car. This will not be Daniels' night.
True.
But what have we just watched the last couple of pairs? Pedaling, whole shots, the works.
This round has been so unpredictable. Kyle has tested all week long in Orlando. He has put some really, really good packages together. He's been very good on the tree, which is something that he has struggled with, but he's getting so much better.
Okay.
In Orlando, the worst light he cut was a 035.
Dang, okay.
So I have a lot of faith in my boy here, and I'm 100% rooting for Kyle. Also, that car, Kyle Canyon, has a Pro Charger and an MH7 in it, just like the MPK cars. So
oh, really? Okay.
You're taking the same power, the same motor, the same combination, and putting them in these small tire cars.
Okay. That's good intel as well. So this thing's got a ton of it. And he is just going to drive away from Daniels, a 425 at 183. Going to go on record and say I believe that's a pretty safe setup in that car. Daniels musters a 450 at 172. Nothing to be ashamed of on that run either, but Canyon had plenty where he needed it.
Yeah, I'm really happy for that team. Glad we're racing tomorrow. I can't wait to go over there, celebrate, have a beer. His wife will be happy, which is a big deal in that pit. If Misty's not happy, nobody's happy. So yeah, it'll be a good night tonight over there in the Canyon pit.
So as we got our final run here, the bye run coming up. Pro 10-5 chip draw happening at the VIP tent right now. Pro 10-5 chip draw. If you won the first round, you got to be back at the chip draw behind the timing tower right now. Now we have our buy run showing up right now. Ryan Hendrickson going to roll up here on the buy on the right side of the racetrack. This Mustang is sneaky fast.
It is sneaky fast. It has a big mile an hour. It is a Hemi with twin turbos. He's been running that combination for a really long time. He has a handle on it most of the time, but I'm telling you right now, he needed this buy run today. He struggled yesterday, so he's a lucky duck right here.
Sometimes things break your way when you need them. And for Ryan, that is a big thing. When you look at the list of first-round winners, who outperformed your expectations, and who may need to pick it up?
This was a nutty round, honestly. I expected much more out of Larry. I'm a Larry fan. I thought for sure that he was going to be the first to the threes, so that was a little disappointing for me. Another one is Ryan Martin, impressive. Right down Broadway. That thing just sticks. It doesn't move around at all. I'm so happy for Kyle, and we'll see what round 2 has in store. Hopefully a little more consistency.
Sure. I mean, listen, I think wild. To me, too, Bill Lutz continues to prove that he has an absolute romper stomper of a race car there. See what Ryan Henderson to do. Ooh, man, that thing was wagging the tail right through the lights. He pedaled it to a 442.5 at 187.5 miles per hour.
Yeah, so that thing continues to have problems. That car is like a silent but deadly fart. That thing takes off. It'll like an absolute turd. It's so quiet, and then about the time you think it's going to get its butt beat, it picks up so much mile an hour out there with those twins, and it is insane.
Well, Kayla Morton, thank you very much. As the tractors roll out, we have called the first 8 pair of Outlaw Pro Mods into the staging lanes. That includes Hyde King, Alvarez Bowman, Bond Norton, Frigo Cox, Banica Holder, Barnett Stedding, Mills Blevins, Taylor Gustafson.
Been waiting for. The sun is going down. The grandstands are packed. You are getting an incredible view from our drone of Bradenton Motorsports Park as we go into first round of eliminations here tonight. This has all been building up to this. This was the fastest field, the quickest field, I'm sorry, I misspoke there, the quickest field in Pro Mod history. Everybody in the 50s. This is going to be insane. A field that is separated by a mere 0.04 of a second with 32 cars. That is absolutely unheard of. Before, last time I spoke to you, I said keep your eyes on a few people that may be able to bump into the show. Turns out our little birdies were right. A few of those did bump into the show, so let's catch you up on those big moves from the final qualifier. First up in our Redline synthetic oil round recap, Motor Nova made it dramatic fashion like he likes to. Wheels up, gets in. He goes from 70th to 24th in Q4. This is what it's all about at the Winter Series. We preach it. That's that beautiful wheels up shot we love to see. His starting line went absolutely insane, which just goes to show you how important this is. Mike Bowman, a former World Series of Pro Mod champion, he rushed up to the lanes, had an issue in the pits this morning when they warmed up, barely made the run, barely got in the field. Absolutely incredible, grabs the final spot in the 32 car field. We have heard that before with somebody else who won this race, but I'll let those conversations be left till tomorrow. Erica Enders, 6-time world champion. She does it again, side by side with her teammate who barely did not get in, Aaron Stanfield. She picked up 4 spots to qualify for the show. Look at that beautiful red car right there, owned by Richard Freeman, Elite Motorsports, and Tidwell Racing. Absolutely incredible. Her in-car camera, if you saw it on social, went absolutely insane getting in. Again, I'm a broken record. This is important. This is hard to do. Qualifying is a feat in itself. But now, qualifying's over. None of that matters. If you're in, you get to play. We had the chip draw. You saw it live here on FloRacing. Random chip draws, so let's take a look at some of those matchups that we had. The crowd was oohing and ahhing at some of these. You couldn't write it. Couple of monster matchups there. One of the monster matchups is right there on top. First out, Spencer Hyde, World Series of Pro Mod champion. Steve King, World Series of Pro Mod champion, 2023, 2025. That is going to be insane. Mike Bowman, stop me if you heard me, World Series of Pro Mod champion. Victor Alvarez owns this place. Go on down the list. This is nuts. Kurt Stedding, Lyle Barnett, they had a few words for each other. That one's going to be a fun one. I think Lyle Barnett said something about an AARP customer, but we'll leave the crap talking to them. Jimmy Taylor and Eric down there at the bottom as well. You should have seen Eric's face when he drew Jimmy. That man, the #1 qualifier, didn't even matter. Erica Enders faces Mike Decker III. Hollywood, again, she drew him last year at this race. Travis Hardy and John Dock, Jim Halsey, Jason Harris, eyes on. Stevie Fast Jackson and Murder Nova, Sean Ellington. That is Stevie Fast Jackson versus the world, as he calls it. And I saw him crunching up some Cheetos down there. I don't know. If you know, you know. Brandon Snyder in Weatherford, Melanie Salemi in Menholt, Kai Kelly and Jay Cox will be the last ones down the racetrack today. This is going to be intense. This is it. The moment we've all been waiting for. Drivers are getting strapped in, and we are going to be going down to the starting line with Wes Buck for opening ceremonies. If you are not settled and ready for this, you better hurry up and get settled. Those pro mods are coming around the corner. Opening ceremonies will be next.
the scene on a gorgeous Saturday night here at Bradenton Motorsports Park. That beautiful kind of fire red sky as the sun has completely set below the horizon. The lights are on. Brian Lones and Mike Carpenter back with you. We know what the magic is at this place, Mike, and we're in the magic right now. The lights are on. Racetrack has been prepped. Round 1 eliminations are upon us.
This is it, man.
Yes.
This is what it's all about. This is going to be electric. You can feel the vibe. You can feel the atmosphere right now. You know, we'd normally run this E1 in the heat of the day. First thing in the morning or around noon. We hear a lot, man, I'd love to see that first round of eliminations be a nighttime session. Here you go.
Yes.
We finally got this to happen. This is going to be absolutely phenomenal. This is what these guys have been down here working for all these weeks and all these qualifying passes leading up to this. The chip draw left us with some incredible matchups also.
And yes, let's talk matchups here on this gorgeous backdrop of the drag strip. We're going to check out our first round matchups. Firing the first shot will be 2 former champions, one the defending champion of the World Series of Pro Mod, Spencer Hyde and Steve King.
Just starting it off right from the start. Pair number 1, 2 of the biggest names that have won our biggest event here at Bradenton, and then it just goes from there. Bowman, Alvarez, Norton, Bond, Frigo, Cox, Holder, Banica, Stedding versus Barnett. Stedding hates those flat hoods.
Yes, he does.
Lyle, Callie Mills, Greg Blevins, and how about this one? Jimmy Taylor, for all of his great hard work in qualifying number 1, he draws, in my opinion, one of the toughest competitors out there based on how he's performed so far this week, Eric Gustafson.
It is totally astounding that these 2 cars, 2 of 3 that ran 355, magically found their same matching numbers, pulling blindly out of the bag. Eric Anderson, Mike Decker, John Dock, then the Carolina kid, Travis Harvey.
Another great one.
Halsey and Harris.
This is a big one. And, this is going to be an epic matchup. I hate that we're going to send one of these guys home after this, but Halsey, it stands on Jim Halsey to end the streak for Jason Harris to possibly wipe him out of the running for the Elite Motorsports Million.
The same Jim Halsey who was part of a fiery wreck one race ago, who at times was contemplating ending his driving career, is now on the precipice of maybe stopping a guy like Harris. And it's Costa, Tommy DeApril, Stevie Fast Jackson, and Murder Nova Sean.
Huge. Stevie just cannot stop drawing these Street Outlaws, No Prep Kings guys. And, they're huge fans of each other, but lots of respect there between the two. Sean Ellington in that huge run to bump in at the end of that session.
Setter-upper. You do a great job at it. Nobody else could wear the hat. It's your hat to wear, and you hold it phenomenally. Thank you for doing what you do. I can't wait to do this for years to come with you, and I am very, very proud to be your friend. And thank you to your wife, because you're the one that knows how many sleepless nights this man has, all the work that he puts in that nobody sees, and your family has endured it for us. Sometimes it's enduring, sometimes it's joy, and sometimes it's frustration. But you stand by him, and you've done all this together. So sometimes people see him, but they need to see you too. You guys are incredible. You're welcome. I love you. All right, you got to give me 2 minutes, and if you don't think the way that I do, or think the way that Wes does, that's okay. You never argue anybody into love. You love them there. So tonight I made a really stupid mistake in my race car. All right, I got it. I made a really stupid mistake in my race car about 15 minutes ago, so it still feels fresh and it still hurts. My bump box, it didn't bump in, and I rolled in a little deep, and I let go of that button just a hair early. I was 0-18. And my kids are at home. My wife's at home. She's been battling all that all week for me to be able to come out here and do this, and then I screw it up. Well, I get back to the trailer, and I immediately get a phone call from my dude Wes, and it's like, hey, can you come up and do the prayer? And on the back of our race car, you'll notice something. It says, Peter walked on water. And in Luke, what happened is Jesus called Peter out of the boat, and Peter walked on the water. But what happened is when the wind came and the storms came, he got scared, and he took his eyes off of Jesus. And you know what he did? He sank. And then right after that happened, Jesus reached out, and he grabbed his hand, and he pulled him up. God calls us to jump out of the boats in life. That's what this man did. He jumped out of a boat. to make this happen. God has put dreams and visions and things in your heart that you are scared to do. And the world will tell you that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, and that you'll never make it. That's crap. You have dreams that only you can live out. So today and tonight, my challenge is the things that you think are crazy, so crazy you won't even share with anyone else, I pray life into them. If you're struggling with addiction, if you're struggling with anything in this world, I pray that you feel the love of God. Because he came to save us. He didn't come for the healthy, he came for the sick. And God, we need you. We all need you. And I pray tonight that people that have never been seen feel seen right now. That they can understand how unbelievably valuable that they are and how dear they are to the King's heart. I'm going to pray for us, and then I'm going to invite Mallory up, and she's going to sing the greatest song that there ever was and ever will be. This is the greatest country on the face of this planet. I am so proud to be an American. I'm proud of all the people that died to make this country a thing. And man, I'm proud to be standing here right at Bradenton Motorsports Park, talking to all you guys and just getting to convey the love of God to you. I pray that you feel it. Jesus, thank you so much for who you are. God, thank you for the way that you created us. You knew that we were going to screw it up, but you did it anyway because you wanted a relationship with us. God, we are all tools in your toolbox, and when we work together, we can accomplish the greatest things. So God, I pray that your peace would fall, that your joy would fall, and that your Holy Spirit would just be all over this place, that people could feel something in the air tonight that's not just the excitement of race cars, but that your Spirit is invited to dwell with us. Let it dwell and let it hang out. I pray that in the heavenly realms that there is a wave of angels around this place and that they pour out your love and your goodness. I pray that people feel seen. I pray for our drivers that get in these cars, man. I pray that they feel loved, protected, and that they are so dear to you. I pray that your angels line those cars, and if I was an angel, I'd want to go that fast too. So God, be with us. We love you. Thank you for drag racing. It is the greatest sport on the face of the planet, and I'm convinced of that. In Jesus' name, amen. If you guys could remain standing, and Miss Mallory is going to sing the best song that there ever was.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And an incredible way to start this evening in front of packed grandstands here at Bradenton Motorsports Park. The expression of faith, of course, and then the rendition of the national anthem, and now the sound of racing engines as Steve King and Spencer Hyde will roll to the water box. Both men have experienced the tail end of these events in the most dramatic and possible way as previous winners of the World Series of Pro Mod, and now they begin against each other in round one.
You said it, Brian. What a way to start the event with that just expression of passion. It just reminds me and reminds all of us, this whole thing is so passionate.
Yes, it is.
And that's how we run these events. Of course, anyone that knows Wes knows that. Jason Terrell, thank you for that. And now we go to two more passionate individuals, Steve King and Spencer Hyde.
You know, these are two guys, very different individuals. You know, you look at the personality types, and two personality types that many people in drag racing did not know until they won the World Series of Pro Mod.
And that race, those race wins put both of these guys, I don't want to say put them on the map. We don't want to take too much credit, but it certainly took two great racers and elevated them to a completely different level.
It took them from the local map to the national map.
Exactly. Spencer Hyde now a full-time touring NHRA funny car driver. Steve King has now become one of the most visible racers on social media.
Yes.
It's that injection of confidence that it gave both of these guys. And boy, you need all the confidence you can get right now to handle the pressure of this stage. E1 under the lights, Saturday night, U.S. Street Nationals.
Of all the things we talked about during final qualifying this morning, the rising temperatures, the sun burning its way through the clouds, all of that goes out the window. All of these racers, all of the crew chiefs have reverted back to the biggest sledgehammer they can swing tonight.
Absolutely. It's all back on the table now. This is what these guys want. They always say we qualify in these great conditions, then have to go tackle a tricky race day. That'll come tomorrow. Right now, it's on. It is. Everything is on the table. They're going to throw everything they can right here, right now.
Round one, pair one. Steve King has got the front end up. Spencer Hyde may have enough to get him, and the win light will come on for Spencer Hyde by 91/10,000ths of a second. 57 beats a 59.
Man, that was a tight one. You couldn't get any closer than that. 030, 045. Neck and neck all the way down the track. Big speed out the back door. 210 carries Spencer Hyde. Allows him to drive around Steve King.
Spencer Hyde was 45 and left second. Steve King was a blinding 30 on the tree. They had identical 9:18 60-foot times, but it was Hyde's car that really began to chew between the 60 and 3:30 to bring him a victory.
9,000ths margin of victory.
And here comes Victor Alvarez and Mike Bowman. You had Vic Alvarez blinded by his own rage on Thursday, the anger of the mess that became that match race with Stevie Fast. And now Mike Bowman, who's had a problem with the burnout, on the opposite end of the emotional spectrum today, was basically moved to tears when he made that 3:59, 218-mile-an-hour pass to make the field.
Yep, the highest of highs right there. And hopefully we don't go to the lowest of lows as he's struggling on the burnout for a second time. Not what you want to see, but it's not the end of the world. If I'm Mike right there, you got the tires dried up and cleaned off, I'm pulling forward. You don't want to risk damaging the converter or anything else.
Yes.
Building heat, everything that's going on with this right now.
There you go.
They finally got it. He's going to do a short burnout here and not cross the starting line.
People,
Great job by Bowman.
We talk about what experience brings people in drag racing, and what experience brings them is, of course, experiences behind the wheel, how to react, how to maneuver through certain situations. But what experience in drag racing, which Mike Bowman has decades of, is the ability to navigate this moment with some clarity, to not have your mental rhythm thrown off, and to still take the fight to Victor Alvarez.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting. This is kind of the situation Vic wanted to find himself in with this switch to the Harts Charger. He wanted something more predictable, consistent. These turbos, it's like riding a bull every single pass down the track. Murder Nova talked about that in an interview with Caleb Morton between rounds. He likes that challenge, and it certainly is, and Bowman's up for it, but this is where Vic wanted to find himself.
And it sounds
in a situation where he's confident in his car that he's going to make the full pull with this new Harts Charger combination.
And it sounds insane to say you sacrificed anything by going to a Harts Charger with how good they run, but you do sacrifice mile an hour. Mike Bowman, if all things are created equal, is going to outrun on speed Victor Alvarez, and he's going to need all of it to see if he can win this first round.
Let's see what happens here. Vic goes right in. Oh, up on the chip for Vic. He's got to wait for Mike to build that boost and light that bulb.
They are off cleanly. They are roaring into the night. Wind light comes on for Victor Alvarez. 3:58.5 for Vic, beats a 3:59.4. 220 miles an hour for Bowman. Alvarez by 16 thousandths.
wow, incredible run. 220 out the back door for Mike Bowman. Made it a lot tighter as they came across the stripe, but Vic picks up the win, 2:11.33 for him. Stellar run.
We talk about the downside of what that burnout issue can be. Bowman's car was 981 to 60 feet, and you cannot tell me that those multiple attempts at a burnout didn't affect that car's first 60 feet.
I'm sure it did in some way. They'll go back and look at the data and see what happened there, and it's not the way you want to start.
No.
It can even affect his reaction time.
Yes, that's an absolute fact. How about Pete Norton coming up here with Justin Bond in the other lane? A year ago, we would have said, Pete who?
Yeah, absolutely. Even a month ago, we might have said that. But
Even a month ago, yeah.
After his performance at Snowbirds, man, this guy is a force to be reckoned with. Ricky Jones on the keyboard, and on the other side, you got Justin Bond. An outspoken guy for sure, but kind of a snake in the grass right now.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yes.
A guy that has kind of been under the radar with all these other performances and these names we've been talking about, but
yeah,
he's got a car underneath him that can certainly take some round wins, take a win here. He's got Scott Tidwell Racing, Chris Terry back there, Steve Petty, all the best brain trust that money can buy right now is behind this car.
One of the most terrifyingly amazing things I've seen in Pro Mod drag racing was Justin Bond at Charlotte a few years ago. Rain was encroaching, the final round was up. Justin went through the finish line at 250 miles an hour, winning the race into an absolute wall of rain and got the car stopped without crashing into anything. He was insane.
Yeah, he's had some harrowing moments.
Yes, he has.
Earlier this year had an incident as well, but he keeps battling back, man. He's a guy that's, you're not going to keep him down for sure.
The body of work for both drivers, Norton on the whole is the more consistent race car. Bond had a 356 to place him number 5, which was a hero shot, but Pete Norton lived in the low 60s, high 50s. Joe, man, they both got a pedal, and it is going to be, is Norton going to be able to get there? No, Bond, yes, Norton got there by a 1/10 of a second.
Wow.
Bond goes 474 ripping across, but he comes across Peter Norton, 456 for the win.
That's one of those situations, by the time that shake happened, he got the car corrected, then he realized, you're just assuming your opponent's already just streaking down the track.
Yeah.
You look over and see him just sitting there like a duck in the water, and then it's too late. There's just not enough racetrack. Now, in a quarter-mile situation, this would have been a win for Bond, but there's just not enough racetrack for him to make up.
That is
by
astonishing.
That time. And we haven't talked about lane choice yet.
No.
And I see a lot of guys that have lane choice coming into this round picking that right lane. I think that's interesting. That's something we'll keep an eye on as we go forward. This situation, it appears to be the opposite. Sidney Frigo does his burnout. He's got lane choice. He chose the left lane.
Both cars come to a rolling stop. Beautiful shot down for the Modern Racing drone. Caleb Morton has Spencer Hyde at the top end.
Spencer Hyde, you started us off with an absolute banger. Steve got you on the tree, but it was a 9,000th of a second that separated you guys at the finish line. Courtney's going to be happy. She's going to be so much easier to work with tomorrow, so thank you for that.
Yeah, as soon as I let go of the button, I knew I was late, and I saw him out in front a little bit. And as soon as this thing clicked in the second gear, I saw it nose out in front of him, and I thought, if we're here now, we're fine. So we got that good Pro Line horsepower, and hopefully we can take this thing deep tomorrow and put it in the winner's circle.
Thank you, Spencer.
2025 NHRA Rookie of the Year, showing his skill and acumen in Pro Mod, has not gone anywhere.
Yep, right back in the seat, right in the comfort zone. He'll be back for E2 tomorrow. Sidney Frigo all the way to the finals at our previous event. We'll see if he can keep that going, keep his, we don't talk a lot about the points championship at this point, but now it's time to start as we're going to start into eliminations and start talking about guys going rounds. Even though this is a winner-take-all event, going rounds of cruise points, and that's going to be a big deal as we get to the World Series of Pro Mod.
And there's a good check on the line for that points champion.
Yep, absolutely.
So the Artevinco Racing Machine, Sao Paulo, Brazil, the hometown of Sidney Frigo, Robert Cox from Michigan. And Sidney Frigo left without saying goodbye. 359 beats a 360, but a massive starting line advantage for Frigo played out to a 10th.5 win light for him.
That was an interesting situation there in staging. We have to go back and look at that again because we had the zoomed in cam kind of looking at Sidney Frigo, and seemed like his crew member was pulling him into stage, and then a split second later, these cars are staged and they're gone. And I think that affected Rob Cox. It was either a really quick tree that came down, and these guys went from. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was a quick tree. There is a variable in the Christmas tree. You know, it's a variable number. When both cars are locked, it can be this quick or this long, and that one definitely hit the short side.
Yeah, and I mean, Sidney went from the crew member walked away, and it was pre-stage stage. He went right in, and I think Cox went in at the exact same time. So that deal was wild.
And looking at the incrementals, they were accurate, meaning the 60-foot times were there, 9:18 on one side, 9:30 on the other. So it wasn't a situation where the thing recorded a bizarre 60-foot time. Those were accurate numbers.
No malfunction. I think both guys were just ready to go.
Billy Banica, Brylan Holder. Banica did not necessarily blow the scoreboards down during final qualifying, but he did earlier on to qualify number 7.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where he did make a great run at one point throughout the weekend, 356 with a 5, but did struggle. But, that we talked about the race day situation and everything earlier. If we expected it to actually be much earlier than it ended up being. So now we're back into that nighttime setup. So I don't know how many guys kind of came up and said, let's get data for later today, because that data's out the window.
That is fully expunged. Holder, Bakersfield, California base fan.
Yeah, now you're looking back at what you did last night and really Thursday as well.
And the beauty of how this has kind of shaken out is, at least in the evenings, it is pretty consistent. Pretty consistent. The daytimes have varied a little bit. Obviously, your track time's going to vary, but at night, they got numbers and they got data to work with. Banica's all over the place early. Brylan Holder takes the fight to him. 358.4 at 210 miles an hour. Beats Billy Banica. Exceptional driving going on. 14 and 22 in the tree.
Yeah, man. Billy had him on the tree. 0-14. 912 was right there. Fell off somewhere in the 330. I think I saw like a lick of flame come out. Maybe had to pedal the car or some kind of issue right at mid-track. Brylan pulled away and was gone.
Right about, just to your point, around that 330, it just seemed to make a little move. And
there was flame. There was some kind of issue going on there from about half track on.
It was unhappy, much like Lyle Barnett was most of last race. He wants to take those memories and crush them up in a ball and chuck them out the window, and he wants to take that out on Kurt Stedding.
Well, Kurt Stedding has not been happy this race.
No.
He even took to social media and said, I just got one thing to say, flat hoods suck. Meaning flat hoods, these centrifugal superchargers, and I guess turbos as well. Little rivalry brewing between those two combinations, which has been dominated by the screw blower. I mean, these races and this whole deal has been dominated by screw blowers up to this point, and really seeing a hard charge from these other combinations, and Kurt not taking it lightly. He'd like to put the flat hood of Lyle Barnett on the trailer right here.
And this is one that really does come down to party lines or personal allegiance. These cars ran within 5,000ths of a second. So if you're a Lyle fan, you're pulling for Lyle, obviously Kurt for Kurt. But it may go deeper than that. To your point, it may go down to this fight over power adders. You know what? I don't care who's driving it. I just want the screw blower to beat the centrifugal. These things are as even, Steven, as we're going to find in eliminations within 5,000ths of each other.
Yeah, one of those situations where the chip draw kind of ended up giving us a matchup that would have happened in a standard ladder where 18 is running 22 right there in the middle of the pack. Should be one of the best matchups of the round.
The Wright Mowers sponsorship on the flanks of Barnett's 18 model year Camaro. And of course, P2 Contracting, the business of Kurt Stedding back in his native Pennsylvania. Brad Schmidt rolling Kurt Stedding ahead. And Barnett is waiting. This guy, we've long talked about it, long said it. Barnett is an absolute trained killer on the starting line, but Stedding is no slouch himself.
Barnett with lane choice, took the right lane. Went right in.
Barnett's 14. Stedding's car moves up to the middle, and it will be Lyle Barnett. 59.5 beats a 59.1. It was a whole shot. He is really going to hate flat hoods.
Unbelievable. He took the whole shot for Lyle Barnett to get that win. Look at the speed for Lyle, 2:12.23.
Yowza.
He needed every bit of that as they came across the stripe. He got it early. He got it at the end of the track. Stedding had the power through the middle.
And again, another sub 20 thousandths margin of victory here. This time it's Barnett calling on the skills that, you know, we got so many great drivers out here. I just know from my body of work and as much as I've watched Lyle race over the years, he's in that elite group. And not everybody gets there, but he's in that elite group where he can call upon that 14, that 10 or 8 light when he needs it and do it consistently.
Yeah, he's definitely in that group, and we don't talk a lot about the reaction times, obviously, in qualifying.
No.
It's all about everyone's talking about the performance, how tight this field is. With that tight field, the only separator becomes the reaction time. And so you end up having to have not only an incredible car underneath you, you've got to have an incredible driver behind the wheel to just get that tiny bit of separation that it takes to go rounds at the Drag Illustrated Winter Series.
Let's talk about what Greg Blevins did in the heat earlier today.
This guy's done it in all sessions.
Yeah.
Just been on rails. Callie, she's been on rails also. Set out a session earlier in the weekend, conserving parts. You know, sort of a different approach, but Blevins with this brand new machine, personal best after personal best throughout testing leading up to this week.
I would say this, during the chip drop, the most awkward hug that has ever happened in the history of humankind happened between Greg Blevins and Callie Mills.
It was.
It was very awkward.
And, you know, two people that probably don't know each other all that well.
No.
You're not really sure what kind of reaction you're going to get from the other.
There was an in and out. It was like a poorly timed staging routine. It just didn't go down well.
It was. If you didn't check that out on FloRacing, go back and look at it. But
that's why we need a telestrator. If we had imagine telestrating. We could have telestrated the hug. Right now, though, Callie Mills is going to try to pull on those skills that she showed us last race. She really drove with a lot of intensity during the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals and showed us exactly why she has had the success she had over the course of the last couple seasons, specifically in 2025. Her best, I would call it, her best Pro Mod season to date. Really the biggest body of work she put together in this car.
yeah, absolutely. Another note, Callie was the lower qualifier of these two, chose the right lane again. And in eliminations, especially if you've got a screw blower hanging out there, better visibility out of the right lane to see the tree. You don't have to look over that screw blower. A lot of people would prefer, if the two lanes are equal, from a driver's perspective, would prefer the right lane for a better reaction time. We'll just see just some things to keep an eye on, as generally the left lane is regarded as slightly better performing in these conditions.
A pretty steep header angle there. You look at Callie's headers, they got a pretty steep layback on.
Yeah, they do. Just red. 001 red.
Oh, man.
Throws away a 356 with a 2 on top of that. Oh, man, that is heartbreaking for Greg Blevins. The car, I mean, he saw the yellow. It just reacted too quick.
Yes.
Car, that's, you know, compared to earlier today, the better, you know, the tighter the track is, the better these cars are performing, the quicker they're moving, and just had it too tight.
One of the quickest runs of the entire race, the best run he's made all race, and it is all for naught. Mills was no slouch. She was 44, then goes 58 at 208, but Mills will move to the round of 16. This, this is Foreman Ali. This is Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. Me versus any sort of buffet line. This is what this is right now. This is Jimmy Taylor and Eric Gustafson.
Two guys that if they get a hold of this racetrack, they've got power. They're able to apply it. These are the conditions that these two cars thrive in. Now, if you caught either of these guys during the day, during a hot session, especially Jimmy Taylor with that turbo car, though they're making a lot of changes, making a lot of strides to make this thing drivable, more consistent. However, this is not. Typically, if you draw one of these turbo cars for E1, it's out here during the hot session, you're thinking, okay, that's kind of an equalizer.
Yeah.
This is not the session that you want to draw
No.
Jimmy Taylor for this nighttime E1 session. But on the other hand, Jimmy Taylor's also thinking, are you kidding me? Qualified #1, and I draw the number 4 guy that's had one of the best performing cars here all week, Eric Gustafson. So a situation where the chip draw really betrayed both of these guys.
The modern racing drone giving us that look there at Jimmy Taylor's car. The other part of this race that you can't physically see is the fact that these two men could not be more different individuals personality-wise. Right. Taylor, bombastic. He will say what needs to be said when he feels like it needs to be said.
From Tennessee.
Yes, Gustafson, the guy from California, very buttoned down, the corporate guy, the operator of the Coast Packing Company in Viva. He keeps a lot of his thoughts to himself unless they get forced out of him. But both of these guys have killer race cars and killer teams.
And, you know, continuing on with that, the rest of the field's back here like, I'm glad to see these two guys.
Hell yes, they are.
Because this is one of the two gorillas that we're not going to have to contend with.
Yes.
They're going to take each other out. So two ways to look at it.
Eric was a little early to leave last race. He was read by just a handful of thousandths of a second. I know he has long pushed that thought out, but it does speak to the fact that he can push that limit. He can push that edge. The Coast car has to move first if Gustafson has a fighting chance here, as they both sit in pre-stage.
Eric's not in a hurry. Now, this is one of the interesting things with the turbo car. They want to stage last so they can control the situation as they build up the boost and then bump in. They don't want to build the boost, bump in, and have to sit there for an unknown amount of time, up to 7 seconds, waiting for the other car to stage.
As different as I said these two guys are, there is one thing. I think both of them have skulls that are about a half-inch thick. Okay, now in goes Gustafson. Taylor's going to spool it up and bump in. They lead. Gustafson's way out on him. Finish line stripe, it is Gustafson. 54, 354 with a 3 at 211 miles an hour. Low ET of the entire meet. An 8:99 60-foot time, a 2:37 3:30, and Taylor blew it to pieces up there.
Unreal. We'll have to go back and look at that, but I don't know that didn't throw Jimmy Taylor off. The way he bumped in, I don't know that it was his normal routine. I don't know if he had the boost fully built like he would have. The car only had like a 950, 960 foot, a 246, 330, only ran a 361, way off the pace for him. However, like we talked about, Gustafson, with the way that car's set up, lock-up torque converter, 5-speed transmission, runs low ET of the event, 899 60 foot, a 237 to the 330.
And look, Gustafson's going to want to saw the top off that time slip as well. He's going to see 081 and be, to a degree, a little sick to his stomach. The wind light solves all problems, but he knows he cannot get away with that anymore. But, man, they loaded the wagon, 354.
Unreal, man. Eric didn't end up needing, you know, that situation on the starting line, but when you're up against the #1 qualifier, one of the most intimidating cars on the property, you're doing everything you can.
You are.
If you see any kind of weakness in it, and you see a weakness in that turbo combination being, you know, they're kind of handcuffed on the staging procedure, you know, you've got to try to take advantage of it.
Well, they're checking the track, and I'm speaking to both our audience and to our great Flow folks back at the truck. If we can get another look at the staging procedure of that run, it would be fantastic to be able to just get another peek at it. I'd most likely to want to look at Jimmy Taylor, because it did to me appear a little bit herky-jerky, a little awkward.
Well, I think he went in pretty quick after Gustafson did. I don't know that it was
maybe a little too quick.
Yeah, a little too quick. I mean, he was still in control of the situation at that point because Gustafson had gone in, but he seemed to go.
It was big.
I heard a pop. He seemed to go to the floor right as Gustafson went in, came off of it, went back on it, if I remember correctly. But there was a lot going on there.
So as the track gets checked, we are going to take a look back here at the staging procedure. Let's watch.
You're not going to hear the audio here as we watch this, but you can maybe glean that information just from watching the slow-mo. So Gustafson goes in, and see that little initial blip?
Yeah.
The RPMs went way up. They came down, went back up again. And I just don't think that the car has to sit there for, you know, once that boost is built and maintain it.
Yes.
It seemed like it went up, dropped, came back up.
And as bizarre as it is to say out loud, 218 on the speed side of that thing is down.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Almost 7 miles an hour from where it could be and should be in these conditions.
Erica Enders and Mike Decker, they think to themselves, this is familiar.
Yeah, these two don't know each other at all outside of this scenario here, but continue to draw each other for these events. It happened again here. So really no No prior history, animosity, or anything going on here. This is going to just be a straight-up run between two competitors that.
And their team stories are oddly parallel this weekend. Enders, one of a 2-car team,
right,
one of which got in, the other didn't. Decker, part of the 2-car family team, one of which got in, one of which didn't. Performance-wise, Decker went 58.9, Enders went 59.5. He had lane choice. He chose the driver's left side.
Really, so 27-31, hardly any difference here. Erica does have the momentum off of that huge run in the last qualifier, getting in, bumping, really the last car to bump her way in, I believe.
Yeah, that idea that we both talked a lot about of what was going to be available throughout that session, and it did kind of slip away, but there were scant few teams that took advantage of the meager what was left. They picked up the scraps on the table just to be part of the 32, and that's all you need to be part of the chip draw.
Kind of a bonus. Erica's got her pro stock team on the grounds too.
Yes.
So they've been over there helping, cheering her on. I'm sure they're up on the starting line. Wherever they can dive in to help her with this pro mod car, I'm sure they have. This modern racing built machine. Ben Stoss out front takes a look over. Both crew chiefs give the go-ahead. We'll see if lining up beside the 6-time Pro Stock World Champion has any effect on Hollywood Decker.
Anders is 30 to Decker's 46. What a great drag race. Oh, she blew it up at the top end. It is going to be Decker as the speed dropped, as you saw that jet of flame come up over out of Erica's engine. 358 beats a 359. They ran bizarrely very close to what they ran in qualifying.
Yeah, right in the lights. Erica, I believe, had that one, but the car gave up right in the lights. Very similar to what we saw with Stevie Jackson and Steve King at the World Series of Pro Mod last year, where the car lasted for 658 feet.
And there it was.
Right there.
It doesn't look like the blower's flopping around. It looks like it just knocked the burst panel or something out, but you saw the jet of flame up the windshield, but 12 ten-thousandths of a second is what Mike Decker won that drag race by.
Unbelievable. Unbelievably tight.
Man alive. That neither of those two, until they glanced up at a scoreboard, knew who won that race. John Dock and Travis Harvey are coming up next, but Lyle Barnett, and you know this dude's fired up. Talk to Kayla Morton.
Lyle, a round one win on a hole shot. What do you got to say about that?
That's just what it takes. That's a great team over there. Kurt's a good friend of mine. I called him Pawpaw earlier. I was going to give him that 5-finger discount on the start line, and it worked out. It don't always work like that. Kurt's pretty good. But my team's worked hard. You know, we went back home after Snowbirds, went through this thing and got it right. We've made very consistent runs in the 350s. 59's probably not low for the round, but it was a damn good run in my opinion. 10 to 5 away behind the steering wheel tonight, and we're moving on to round 2. So just super proud of my guys and looking forward to tomorrow.
Boom.
The gospel according to Lyle, as we have John Dock and Travis Harvey coming up now.
Two runners out of North Carolina see each other occasionally in some of the stuff around home in the Carolinas, mainly PDRA Pro Boost. Recently, John Dock burst onto the scene. Travis Harvey, one of the most well-known killers behind the wheel in really anything. This dude could literally, he could have been on one of those Burrow Maxes earlier that they were running, and he'd have been lighting them up.
He probably asked to be on one of them, actually. We're like, come on, man, now we got to give somebody else a chance around here. I like this matchup at a couple levels. Performance-wise, obviously, it's a good type matchup, but these are two guys who both kind of have a little swagger. They have a kind of cool aura about both of them. They operate in a very kind of high-level professional way. And so that adds to me a little swagger to this entire pairing here. And for Travis Harvey, as many races as he's won, as many achievements as he has grabbed, getting something done on this stage is one that he hasn't done yet. Almost seems like an incomplete resume. As complete as it is, he needs this one.
It's definitely eluded him so far. They've struggled with this car. Had an incident last year, rebuilt the car, new body on it with some new stuff, new tuner behind the keys, Mark Savage. Danny Perry taking that over this weekend. They've been consistent. I think Doc's got the performance advantage from what we've seen so far, but you've got to think Travis Harvey can make that up behind the wheel.
Harvey's car up by the center line. Across the stripe they go. It's Doc. 57-1 beats a 58. The two drivers were 33 for Harvey, 40 on the tree, but John Doc by 94 10,000ths wins the race.
And it played out like we thought, Harvey with the reaction time advantage, but just not quite enough.
Yep.
040, I mean, that's a great light, but it does leave some room there that could have been made up for Harvey to get that whole shot win. But 033, it's crazy to say, but Travis is not going to be happy with that light. I'm just knowing him.
No.
He feels like he's got to come up here and go 020, go a teen.
And he is the type of guy, and he'll get over it because he's a professional, but he's also the type of guy that can look you dead in the eye and say, I should have been 23 and meant it.
Yeah.
You know, you've had guys say, if I was only 23, and you think to yourself, you've never been 23 in your life, pal. A guy like him knows it and means it. And a guy like Jason Harris, who we look at right now in the Party Time Camaro, knows exactly what this round means to him.
Monster matchup here. Jason Harris, he calls himself the world's worst chip drawer, and he may be, after what we continue to see race after race, because we actually had him on the West Buck show a couple of weeks ago, talking to him about the chip draw and about just the mentality, the pressure when you come to this event. And we were talking about Jim Halsey, and he even just came out willingly and said, well, that's one guy I don't want to draw. I don't want to draw Jim Halsey. And he kind of spoke it into existence as, who did he draw? Jim Halsey. So Jim, with this freshly rebuilt car from Jerry Bickle Race Cars, has the opportunity. Jimmy Taylor took away the opportunity for Jason Harris to win that Jerry Bickle Clean Sweep Challenge and that rolling chassis from Jerry Bickle. And Halsey's got it on his mind. He wants to take Harris out of that running for the Elite Motorsports Million. We'll see if that happens at any point during this race or right here, right now in the first round of eliminations.
Yeah, what stands on this round for Harris is enormous. What stands on it for Halsey may not seem as big on its face, but it sure is in terms of what he has accomplished in coming back in a very short time. And it will not be Jim Halsey as he is off early. Jason Harris, 009, 354.7 at 211. I love you, Jim, and I respect you, but you didn't have a 354 loaded up in that race car.
No, he did, man. And that's what Jason does. That's how he's just dominated this series so far. Not only the performance with a 354 with a 7, but that 009 light just shuts the door. I mean, the door is slammed shut right then at that point, unless you can beat this guy in ET, which is a tall task because he does not leave that window. He went 017 repeatedly at the last event. Now to go 009 first round of eliminations. He was on his game against one of the legends of the sport, Jim Halsey.
And for the record, if you go back and check the tape, Jason Harris was 009 in his final qualifying pass.
Yeah, that was his tune-up.
That was his tune-up, and he had the same setup in that thing and just absolutely drove it down their throat. It's a statement run on both ends. It is a statement run that says the guy in his seat is as locked in as he was a month ago, and it's a statement run that says the car is as good or better than it was a month ago. Yikes.
Tommy DeApril coming up here in the orange C7 Corvette in the right lane. Number 28 and 29 qualifiers drew each other in this chip draw, so this is easily the most balanced matchup we're going to see based on qualifying. DeApril with the slight lane choice, or slightly out-qualified Costa, ends up with lane choice, chooses that right lane.
And gee whiz, you talk about this, you think, oh, gee whiz, we're going to get one of these like plucky underdogs, the 28 or 29. Thank God one of those gets to move ahead. They were only 400ths off the #1 qualifier.
Yeah, this one is a complete toss-up. If anything, Costa's been super impressive this week with Todd Tutterow back there calling the shots, guiding this team. However, Tommy's a veteran of this track.
Yes.
Multiple classes. He's run well here at all of our events. Always a threat. Great driver.
Back when Tommy was rocking Mel Bush's Bel Air back in the day. Yep. I mean, this guy's driven a lot of stuff at a very high level.
In IHRA Pro Mod.
You can see Todd Tutterow is motioning back to Costa's crew. You should have had the car further right. He kind of just put his head down and stepped away. And look at DeApril wheeling this thing through. 59 with a 3 with a 12 reaction time. The man is nails. Costa goes to 360.
Yeah, I don't know what I saw Todd making that motion as well. I don't think that it ended up affecting the run too much. 360 with a 0, just not enough, and not enough on the tree either. That was another one where the margin to come around him was really over very early with that reaction time from Tommy D.
Yeah, I can't say enough about the fact that I always am impressed with the level of focus, the level of execution on the starting line here. The 12 light for G. April continues to do it. Let's go back to the top end with Kayla.
Eric Gustafson taking out the #1 qualifier. You were #4. He was #1. I knew it was going to be a super tough race. We were just talking earlier. Tell me why this race is so special.
Well, my family's here to see me race. Thanks to the snow in Dallas, they got to see me race since, I think the first time since 21 at XRP, so it's pretty special to have them here. My wife, Courtney, my kids, Avery, Bo, and Lucy. I mean, I'm so excited to see them when I get back to the pit and hug them.
You get back there and do that.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kayla. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Massive round win for that team, and here comes Stevie Fast Jackson and Murden Overshawn.
This is a massive one here between Stevie and Sean. Outside of everything else, this is the last, I believe, the last non-screw blower or centrifugal supercharger in competition. We could end up going into round 2 just with those 2 combinations moving on with all turbo nitrous cars eliminated to this point. That's something, if you're a fan of the diversity in this class, you don't want to see. And Stevie cannot take Sean lightly at all, even though Stevie has just been on rails all weekend. He's looked as impressive for this event as he has for any of the Drag Illustrated Winter Series events. And maybe this is finally when he gets over that hump and is able to put one together, have some fortune go his way instead of it working against him as it seems to have to this point.
There have been
the Street Nationals win.
Yeah, the freakish losses, the tight losses. He's found every other way. Maybe this is the time. The Motion Race Works Shadow begins a march toward ultimate victory.
Stevie's no stranger to start. There he goes. He goes right in. So say he might wait a second or two.
Both cars roar up the starting line, and Murden Overshawn lifts. Jackson was 11, 356.2, 211.
But then slows to a 960, and Stevie's long gone by then.
And we saw the right lane do. That's a traditional move on that lane. If you get the car up in the air in the front end, it tends to, like it's got a paint magnet in the nose, just brings it left.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot. See it again there. Takes out Sean Ellington, and great shot as we look back at the Gorilla. That's what Randy Weatherford calls this car.
You know,
we had to change the
So Weatherford and Snyder completing their burnouts. The J&A service car of Brandon Snyder, a quiet guy. Call him Cornbread. He is a guy that is his hands in the tune-ups of the J&A service Pro Mod team. And as you mentioned, like Randy for a long time was like a quiet guy. And
never said a word.
He woke up and chose violence one day and has never looked back.
He's like, man, I've been doing this long enough. And now he's confident in this car and in this team. This is something that's probably been building over decades. And at this point in his career, he's letting it all hang out. His son Taylor drawing the line where he wants to bring him up and stop him. I was going to say, just, we kind of like to throw some predictions out here.
Yes.
Seeing what we saw earlier out of
boy.
Harris and Gustafson, Randy, he's going to drop the hammer right
Yes,
here.
he is. I agree. Weatherford out of Danville, Virginia. And Brandon Snyder for Matt Moore. The two cars sit now, idle up a little bit here for Brandon Snyder. Weatherford's son taps the hood of the car. Will we see low ET of the entire race here? There is a darn good chance. There's also a very good chance that Brandon Snyder could upset the number 3 qualifier. And here goes Weatherford, 3:55 with an 8 at 210 miles an hour. The car repeating a 3:55. What it ran in qualifying, almost to the mile per hour. And he gets it done with a 21 light, outrunning a 61.
Yeah, he'll be happy with that, but not as happy as if he'd dropped the hammer like we said, dip into that 54 range. Car looks nice and under control. Not a lot going on there, but they just, Snyder blew the burst panel a lot like we saw Erica Enders earlier. They're leaning on these things.
Yes, they
doing the best they can to keep up with guys like Randy, who are just on a tear. Randy, Jason Gustafson right now pacing the field.
It will now be Derek Menholt and Melanie Salemi's turn. We saw Callie Mills already advance. We're going to find out if Melanie Salemi can do the same thing. Taking on the racer from Billings, Montana. Let's go to Jason Harris and Kayla Morton at the top end.
Jason Harris, 009 up front, 354 with a 7 at the big end. You came out here and you absolutely made a statement in round 1.
You know, I've been 00 about every round. I put a little bit in the box just because nerves and jitter, and me and Jimmy go way back. Man, we've raced nitrous more times than you can count. So this was like old times. When he knows how I race, I know how he races. You know, he's at a little bit of a disadvantage, but give him props for getting the car back together. Coming out here with a nitrous car, you know, at least he's trying. And they're doing a hell of a job. And I can't thank everybody. John Doc won. Team's going on. We can sleep a little better tonight. We're going to drink some beer. Party time tonight. But, dude, 54-7, I needed that one night ago. If it would have done that last night, maybe we'd still be on top. But that's all right. We're going after the million now.
It's a party!
I knew Jason was going to say that. He was going to get on himself and go, if I'd have just been able to run that last night, I would still be in contention for that Jerry Bickle race car. But at least he's got it now and can continue that on. Like you said, now focusing on the million.
And that's the mentality that makes champions champions. The inability to just let that stuff slide is what makes you a champion. Derek Menholt and Melanie Salemi now. Menholt with this Corvette that has been highly impressive all weekend long.
This is a tough draw on both sides, really. These cars have been consistent all weekend. Melanie, we know she's a killer when it comes to race day. Derek, this car is, like we talked about, it's been as under control, predictable, and consistent as any out there, which is deadly when it comes to race day conditions. This, to me, is an absolute coin.
So now we see the LE Installations logo. Jim and John Salemi. It is an effort that is rooted in, built in, and powered by Buffalo, New York. Derek Menholt, the only thing he knows about Buffalo is they have kind of the same weather.
These centrifugal cars have been dominating this round. Can Melanie score one for the screw blowers? Anybody can do it at turf.
Menholt was 22, and Menholt will take that Corvette on to round number 2. 212 miles an hour.
Like Derek Menholt has, you put the worry out of your mind that what's this car going to do when I let go of the button? Am I going to have to drive it? Do I need to be prepared to catch it? He knows this thing's on rails, and he can focus entirely on letting go of that button and have the best reaction time possible, and it came through right there.
If you wanted to plot out Derek Menholt's weekend so far, there is not a more beautiful looking curve than a car that's gone 58, 57, 56, and 55. I mean, it's been amazing to watch them step this thing down as Kai Kelly and Jay Cox, the final pair of round 1.
Two, what do you call them? Shrinking violets. They're they're not, you know, they're not known for talking trash or anything, right? These two guys.
Look, yes, they, of course, right? That this is their route. It was the only pair to me that actually brought a little chill to the room. When those two guys went up there.
I thought that too.
There was a lot of hugs and kisses out there, but when those two guys walked up, Kai said, oh, I guess now he's going to talk about me, right? Because there's some history there. That was the only part that I think the only pair that I really felt like a little of the temperature drop in the room was these two guys, and I loved it.
Well, I know Jay pretty well, better than I know Kai, but I thought about reaching out to him and saying, what was going on there? What's that about? But then I saw that their wives were actually chatting it up on a comment on Drag Illustrated's page about the pairings, and we're very friendly. So it made me kind of go in the opposite direction.
Okay.
I thought we were going to have some drama right there. There may be more to the story. We'll find out, but no love lost either way between these two. Kai Kelly sort of made his debut here in Pro Mod Racing and at the Drag Illustrated Winter Series a year ago with a huge splash, and one of the most well-known names in Pro Mod Racing, Jay Cox, making his return this weekend.
The athlete's mentality applied to drag racing. A great baseball player in his time, Jay Cox, turning all that competitive focus to a drag racing career that has brought him a lot of accolades, and now is kind of running on a frequency that he is comfortable with, to spend more time with his family. Kai Kelly is still head over heels, tied up and bound up by this sport. We'll find out if he can stop Jay Cox in round one. Kai Kelly was 13 green, and at the finish line, he will win. 58 beats a 60, and Kelly just took him all the way down the racetrack on a leash.
Jay actually had the better 60-foot, 907, but then just kind of faded back from there.
We watched this one from downtown, and you're going to see Cox's car. Actually, he had to put a bunch of wheel into that thing.
Yeah, he did. Had to drive that thing more than what you want to, and that's kind of the opposite of what we saw from Derek Menholt, where if you've been down the track literally every run straight as a string, that could have gotten in Jay's head, as he knew he may have to battle that thing once it left the line, and that's exactly what he had to do.
We have not had a round of qualifying or had a round of eliminations in multiple years at this series of races that has been anything but next level exceptional, and this one followed along.
Certified badass only.
Yes. We got a 354 on the board, but we got Stevie Fast Jackson moving around too. Let's go down to the top end. Kayla's with him.
Stevie Fast Jackson, 0-11 up front, 356 with a 2. Out of the back, you gave Murder Nova not one sliver of hope that run, and you ended his weekend very early.
You just got to keep closing the door on these guys. They're so good, and everybody out here is so good. If you give them any room, they're going to get you. So, like, our goal, this is going to sound pretty boring for Stevie Fast, but our goal this event is to make this as boring as possible. Just do the same thing every time. Go out there, have fun. Really doesn't matter who's in the other lane, because everybody can kill you. You just assume everybody over there can kill you, and we're going to leave that window small as we can. 4 more. I really want this one. My teammate Sydney Frigo also moving on, so KTR is having a good weekend.
Thank you, Stevie.
And so that will bring our round 1 Pro Mod coverage to a conclusion. Certainly not our coverage for the night. We have multiple categories yet to run. Let's put a wrap on first round of Pro Mod eliminations.
Yeah, a lot, like you said, Frigo advancing as well. Kai Kelly, I keep looking at who's left on.
Points.
Yeah, the points are starting to build up as well. And that was a great point. Kind of goes back to my Derek Menholt point as well about it being boring.
Yeah.
That's what these guys want. And to hear Stevie say that really rams that home. And like you talk about, being able to slam that door shut right off the starting line, not leave these guys any window. We'll see what kind of matchups we end up with as we're going to do the E2 chip draw here in just a bit in the tent, and see what we've got coming first thing tomorrow morning.
And when it comes to streaks, Jason Harris, that is now 6 round wins in a row of Winter Series competition, building on that awesome points lead that he has. When we come back, it'll be time to go radial drag racing. We have plenty more to bring you from Bradenton Motorsports Park. Thanks to Mike Carpenter. We'll be right back.